It's so hard. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Fletcher. Fletcher is a musician, if you don't know. She's incredible. She's been someone that I've looked up to for a couple years. Me and my fiance love her. She just makes LGBTQ music, which when you're gay and you're listening to music, sometimes it's hard to relate when, you know, a guy's singing about a woman or vice versa. And so Fletcher sings about her life and her love stories, and so it's really relatable and cool. We went to her concert; she was incredible. Also, like Katy Perry, right? Like she's been a huge advocate for the LGBTQ community for so long, and in her music, obviously. RuPaul is incredible. I used to like religiously watch that show. There's just so many, and I feel like I'm not gonna give a solid answer if I answer on the spot. So yeah, I'll do my mini Mount Rushmore. So it's so bittersweet, right? You always want what you can't have. Of course, when I was the GM, I missed wrestling. And now that I'm wrestling, I'm embracing it and I love what I'm doing. But of course, wearing the suit and ties and being GM was super fun. So I love parts of both of that. But I feel like what I'm doing now is probably the most fulfilled I've ever felt as a character, because I'm getting the mic time, I'm getting the promos and the backstages, but I'm also getting to wrestle a lot, having 2 seg matches with Becky Lynch last week. So that's something that as a person, like I need the physicality. Like I'm a fighter. I was an athlete since I was 4 years old. So yeah, I definitely missed that part, and I'm happy to be back in the ring. They eventually had to integrate back some sort of physicality regardless of my role, because I'm capable and I'm able. So it would be a waste, I think, to not use my physical abilities. So I knew it would come back into play at some point, but I was definitely out of the ring longer than I ever expected, because when you're, you know, I was injury free, I was healthy, I was ready, yet being used as authority figure, which was such a compliment to me too, because I was like, wow, I can wrestle and I can work, but they're choosing to utilize me in this other way right now, which is super cool as a performer, knowing that you can kind of fit in a few different places and do a few different things that are completely, you know, different from each other. Yeah, I had so many pitches. I drove, but they always had a vision and they had their ideas too. So we would just go back and forth, and I was like, oh, anytime there was a champion or someone who was in the middle of a feud and I saw a way that I could kind of interject and do it in a cool way with the authority character, I always pitched it. And I just kept pitching away. And then finally they re-debuted me against Bianca. We had a couple series of matches. And then I kind of slowly just made my way into different storylines. So it's been fun, but I think like being where I am right now with Chelsea, it feels like I'm finally back in the groove of being a full-time wrestler. It feels like this is kind of where I'm settling in right now. And I'm excited for the growth and evolution that can come out of this tag team for sure. It's been insane. It's been so much fun. It's funny you say peanut butter and jelly, because that's kind of what we are. We're like yin and yang, but we go perfectly together. When I heard the idea, I was like, because when you think of Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville on paper, you think of quite opposites. But when you put us together, I think our opposites attract and we complement each other. So it's really funny. It's also funny because we were on Tough Enough together 8 years ago almost, which makes me feel really old. But it's crazy, a full circle moment to see us now working together in WWE on Monday Night Raw 8 years later from when we were both trying to break into the business. So that's cool too. So I feel like Sonya is almost like it's so funny because I feel like Sonya / Daria is almost like an anti-Karen. So right. But I feel as if my character is more direct and straight to the point of what she wants. And what she wants is different than what Chelsea's character wants, right? I think Chelsea's character cares about, you know, making sure there's lattes in the locker room and making sure that her shirts are ironed and that there's, you know, whatever. And I think Sonya is more worried about winning and proving herself in power and control. I think we go about it 2 different ways as well. Sometimes Chelsea can get lost in the words and I'm more, it's nothing personal, this is business, I want what I want. So that's why I think we complement each other well though, because when she needs to finesse and manipulate and use her tactics, it works perfect. And when Sonya needs to be straight to the point and direct, it works great for that too, in some scenarios. See, I feel like most improved implies that they were once bad. So I don't like that term, but I think someone who has excelled and just, Liv Morgan, she's one of my best friends, obviously. And I think she's someone who just has the tenacity and like the hunger of like a lion. Like, honestly, she just doesn't stop. And she was so determined to be champion. And I remember driving in the car with her and her talking about and manifesting being champion. And I swear, like 6 months later, she was SmackDown Women's Champ. So I just feel like she's come so far, right? She got signed, I think, at 20 years old. I got signed at 21. And just to grow with her over the past 8-9 years has been so cool. And just to see where she is now is awesome. I'm just doing my job. No, I'm just doing my job. When you have 3 totally different people, totally different characters, everyone's trying to do what they got to do and be the best. And you're going to have that competitive energy, and you're going to have, I think without the competitive energy, what would our division be? I think everyone needs to want to be the best. I think when you lose that hunger and when you lose that drive is when things get dangerous, right? You don't want a bunch of complacent people. I want everyone to win, of course. I want us all to succeed, but to a certain extent, to be doing what we're doing and to be in this field, you have to be competitive. And I think sometimes those energies go awry. I hate to say that it doesn't affect me, but I've worked with Triple H and Vince for 8 years now. And I work well with both of them. So there's not much of a difference in my mind. I come to work, I do my thing, and that's it. It's gonna sound odd, but it was before I even met her. I followed her on Instagram for like a few years, I think, and she followed me. And I would just look at her posts and I was like, this is like my wife. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know. She just kind of had everything going on that I'm into, and she just seemed so genuine and real. And the day I met her, I was like, she's exactly everything I thought she would be and more. We basically said that we're going to come up with a list of everyone we want there, and that's going to be our list. So I think it's going to be like somewhere around 150. So it's like a solid size wedding. Definitely Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Maria Menounos. Those are like my besties that'll for sure be there. But definitely a lot more than I'm missing right now. She's gonna take mine.
Ooh.
So that's pretty cool. So we will be the Baronatos officially. It wasn't anything that was like verbally discussed. It just was natural in my mind that I was gonna propose to her. And I think in her mind, she wanted me to have that moment as well, because she just knows me and she knows that that's something that I would do. But she wanted to have a ring to give back to me when I did propose. So she went and had a ring made actually by the same jeweler that I had her ring made, which is really funny. They did a really good job, Happy Jewelers, of keeping the secret. And so she was carrying it around in her purse for like 3 months. So whenever I proposed, she would have the ring to give back to me. I love Uncrustables, and I was like, what if we made it like a donut Uncrustable? And so our chef worked on it, and I was like, oh my God, this is genius.
It's amazing. What is that, your favorite donut, or what is your favorite donut at Mandy's?
The PB&J is my top one. It's Mandy's 100%.
I was pleasantly surprised to learn that your favorite player was Allen Iverson. You love Allen Iverson, and I've always thought that people who say that Allen Iverson is their favorite player, because I have a couple of friends like this, it always speaks to them and something about them. Like, my favorite Ninja Turtle is Raphael, because he's a rebel. Just listen to anybody. And Allen Iverson's kind of that spirit. So what is it about Allen Iverson that you love?
He was just so cool. So I played basketball all growing up, and I was actually on the shorter, smaller side. And so obviously I related to him like that. He was a guard, I was a guard, I was a point guard. So I just thought he was the coolest. I was from South Jersey. I would go to the Sixers games. I had season tickets. I would go to like every other home game. And I would sit there and I would watch his mom braid his hair while he's sitting on the bench. stuff. So I got to like experience him to a degree, and I just thought he was the coolest thing ever. I loved his braids. That's why I did my braids in NXT, the MMA fighter. That's where I got the design from, the straight back cornrow. I just thought he was the coolest thing ever. He just had this like energy about him, and he's always dressed cool. I don't know. I just liked his energy.
Did you ever have any of his shoes, the Answers or the
Yeah.
Oh my God, those were so great.
I had a white and like red pair that I was obsessed with, that I would wear with these really long basketball shorts, and then his jersey to school like every day. Yeah, I was just obsessed. Man, he's like legendary, right? One of the greatest of all times. I think he was one of the first characters that showed me that you can truly encompass someone other than yourself. Like you can truly become this other character and still be relatable to the audience and still capture the fans. I mean, that's what's fun for me, because I like acting, and you know, I started taking acting classes when I was like 13 or 14, and that's something that's always been a passion of mine. So I don't want to go on screen every Monday and be Daria. I enjoy being able to kind of get into this persona and character and evolve. Obviously there's parts of Daria and Sonya and vice versa, but it's really fun to be able to pull from different emotional experiences of my life and use it in the character. And I think that's what I enjoy so much about this business. I mean, I have yearly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals. I try to manifest almost everything that's happened in my life has been something that's been written down on a piece of paper, and that's just kind of always been my way. But part of that way is not speaking it. I have my own little goals, and then I do what I can to manifest and work towards them. So yeah, I mean, WrestleMania being in Philly this year is huge because it's the closest WrestleMania could ever come to my hometown. It's like 15 minutes from my hometown. So being able to have a big part of WrestleMania 40 would be pretty epic for me.
I'm going to manifest Allen Iverson walks you to the ring at WrestleMania 40. I'm manifesting that out right now.
I would die. I don't know if he knows of my fan love yet. I feel like I've tagged him a couple times, but oh my God, if AI walked me to the ring, that would be it. Game over.